My literature review focused on two technologies that could reduce the amount of time teachers devote to grading as well as shorten the time between when a student makes a mistake and effective feedback is given. This would also, hopefully, give teachers more time to devote to actions that might improve student outcomes. These technologies are automated scoring and intelligent tutoring systems. Teaching is difficult. The basic structure of a teacher's job means that they must research content, develop the lesson and assessment, deliver the lesson, build rapport with students, perform administrative tasks, grade assessments, and give effective feedback throughout the day. The most pressing areas are the ones that must be completed before each class day. These are the development of the lessons and assessments. What is generally at the bottom of the list is grading and giving effective and timely feedback. However, providing effective feedback is one of the most important actions a teacher can do to improve a student's success. As grading needs pile up, the lessons that teachers develop become more rudimentary as they do not wish to add to their grading backlog. Rapport with students also suffers as they feel as they feel the teacher does not care as much about their work. This cycle sadly punishes ambitious teachers and supports low-level thinking activities. Advancements in automated scoring and intelligent tutoring systems have sped up the action of providing effective and timely feedback. However, these technologies are not yet at the point where they can be programmed and deployed by teachers. Democratization of automated scoring, or AS, and intelligent tutoring systems, or ITS in my mind, is when there is a system that any teacher, regardless of technological know-how, could program the system to provide timely feedback and grade questions that the teacher develops. For example, a teacher could tell the system, today we're going to do lesson 3-4. Post it to the dashboard at the beginning of each period. Make sure to remind students to answer in complete sentences when the question asks them to. This lesson is similar to 2-4 that we did last week. Where did the students struggle with that activity? The computer responds that students could not find examples of current examples of ancient Greek government. The teacher responds that this time give them a link to the CIA World Factbook page for Great Britain. The computer repeats the directions, then asks if the score should go directly to the grade book, or if the teacher wants to review them first. The teacher elects to review the current examples question before grades go out. Now, this scenario has three distinct technologies: a natural language interface, automated scoring, and ITS. My research only encompasses AS and ITS. So the eligibility criteria for my research, I looked at two different timelines, one from 1996 to 2006. This is when these technologies were initially being developed, and a lot of the criticisms that existed then are still relevant today, as the technology hasn't entirely answered those questions. Then in 2015 to 2020, that's the most recent iterations of these technologies. And the journals that they're being published in are also varying greatly. You have your pedagogical journals, but also journals on artificial intelligence, human-computer interaction, and adaptive intelligence systems. Where I found majority of my work literature was through the JMU libraries, a little bit through Google Scholar, but not nearly as much. My search mostly involved this term right here, ITS, intelligent tutoring systems, but also the automated grading, or AS, systems. I also try to focus on the United States. I omitted natural language articles that had to do with symbolic languages, like Chinese or Japanese. my method of synthesis. So there were two things that really started to stick out when I was looking at this. The first one with automated scoring was validity. And that means how close is the computer score to what an expert human scorer would give that paper. The other one is intelligent for intelligent tutoring system is improved student outcome. Um, a lot of them were judged on whether or not they could do that. Now, these two charts here just kind of give you an idea of where I added more weight to a journal or an article. If the developmental complexity was very high, then I weighed that lower because the goal here is to turn it into something that teachers could use. So if an entire company's goal was to develop this product in 10 years with $200 million, that's not something that a teacher is ever going to be able to do. So those sorts of programs were never really considered in my research. On the other hand, if topic complexity was very high, then it received a higher weight because an intelligent tutoring system that could give students a hint that B comes after A in the alphabet wasn't really showing the complexity that I wanted. So for my research selection, there were 50 articles that were reviewed. For about 20 of those, I only read the abstract. Of the ones that remained, I read all, but only included 16 of those. So my findings, first off, what automated scoring is. You have your group of experts that put in essays into the machine, and then the machine finds similarities or common characteristics of that essay at each scoring level. And then after they put in all of the essays, the machine is able to figure out which essays that the students have written are similar to the scoring levels that the experts submitted. And then the computer assigns that paper a grade because it has the most similar characteristics to a 4 essay or a 6 essay or a 2 essay. Does automated scoring produce valid results? It does in these categories here: grammar, word sophistication, length, consistency. So is your paragraph 1 the same as your paragraph 2 or similar to? Also, how similar is it to the experts' essays? Okay. It doesn't do as well with factually correct. So, you write that the U.S. Constitution was written in 2001, it's not going to mark that as incorrect because it doesn't. There's nothing wrong with that sentence other than the fact that the information is incorrect. Also, nonsensical, as long as you use the correct parts of a sentence, subject, verb, then it's going to say that you did it correctly. It won't be able to tell if the person who wrote the essay understands the material, or if the essay is written to purposely fool the system. So one person was hired to try and fool this system, and what they did is they wrote the same paragraph 37 times. And it was a very good paragraph, so the system graded it as the highest level. Now, intelligent tutoring systems, what happens is we have students that show some form of struggling. This could be facial recognition of someone struggling, or somehow their keystrokes change. There's more pauses. They put in an incorrect answer. After that, the computer program pops up a little icon that says, "Hey, I can tell you're struggling with this. Have you tried this idea?" And that prompts the student to then put in the correct answer. Do these improve student results? It does with concrete topics. So math, Science, putting together a chemical formula. Okay? If there's limited methods for solving the problem, okay, if you decide to solve a problem by thinking of a new way to do it, or if there's a new way of solving a problem, this isn't going to understand that. And also, only if there's correct answers. So, what's the role of the President of the United States? It may not completely understand that answer or be able to prompt you to give an answer that has a more ambiguous meaning. So, these topics here, it's not going to do as well with. So, developmental barriers to democratization. Um, for these, you need AI programmers currently to develop any of these systems. You also need massive computing power and teams of people developing all of the different scenarios, the content, um, to make sure that it's providing the correct hint at the right time, and also lots of money to pay for all of these things. A teacher doesn't have any of these, so that would be a large barrier to democratization. Technological barriers to democratization. Currently, it's not going to help you um, provide any, you know, once you get into high school, maybe an ITS is going to be less useful. The technology doesn't seem to be there yet for more complex topics. Also, you need to talk in the method of a computer programmer, not a teacher, in order for these to in order for these to be programmed. They take a massive amount of time. Um, so most methods take around 200 hours for a 30-minute lesson. Um, a recent method was developed where it would only take 30 minutes for a 30-minute lesson, and that would be great. That's kind of like the goal is something like that because you only have to do it once. Also, the systems can be duped. Some of the intelligent tutoring systems, if you just ask it enough, it gives you the right answer. The automated scoring, I talked about one of those ways of duping the system before. All right, so that is um, what my research uncovered, and hopefully this helps you understand these different technologies and where the science is currently.